Welcome everyone. I am Dave Nelson from Industry Cooking Classes channel over on YouTube, and I have with me today Ms. Cheryle Libby-Sutton, an old friend of mine, and not old friend of mine. We haven't, we go back a couple of years, right? But yeah, I have her on here to kind of talk about a few things on another episode of Between the Two Stoves right here on Facebook Live. Okay, that Between the Two Stoves, it happens every Thursday at 5 o'clock. I'd like to remind all of you good people out there to also look into my quarantine kitchen happy hours. Those go off every Monday at 4. That's every Monday at 4, okay? And so I should kind of bring Cheryle in here, okay? Now, she is a high school culinary teacher. I met her when I was doing some adult ed classes in a little culinary program out in West Sacramento in Bryte. And it's called Bryte Career and College Training Center. I think I got that right. It's part of Washington Unified School District, and it's out there in West Sacramento, okay? It's just in a little tucked away in a little neighborhood, okay? There are several things around education. I wanted to talk to a high school teacher, and I've known Cheryle for a long time. I consider, we're kind of buds, and so I thought I'd ask her about, teaching stuff, right? Because I've always just kind of been a cook. I teach, right? But I've always been a cook, and I wanted to talk to somebody who really knows, like, teaching, a real teacher, if you guys know what I mean. I've never considered myself like a real teacher. So I kind of wanted to steer away from any hot topics in education today, right? It's kind of political at a time when personally I feel like it really shouldn't be. We should be looking at safety and reason, and that should be primary right now. But and Cheryle has to be able to go to work in the morning, so I'm going to steer away from any hot button topics. But I don't want you to think that I'm not giving you the hard hitting gritty narrative that you guys expect from my Industry Cooking Classes channel, okay? So I'm really gonna, ask some tough questions here, okay? I wanna remind everybody that if you are out there, looks like I got some people here, this is awesome, cool. I wanna remind all of you people over here on my chat that you can ask questions too, right? Throw them on down there. At the end of this, we'll do a little session. Maybe we'll call it closing time or after hours or something. I'm working on a name here. But,
last call.
Yeah, last call. Ooh, that's a great one. I'm using it, Cheryle. Thank you. And we can have you folks questions in there too, okay? She's a high school teacher in the area, and you people have kids. You're raising up the next generation. So she's helping you do it, and I wanted you guys to have a little chat in there too, if anything, okay? So now, before we get into it, Cheryle, I want to introduce you again, Cheryle Libby-Sutton from the Bryte Career and College Training Program over in Bryte, California, in West Sac. Full disclosure, earlier today, I did refer to you as my gal pal, okay? And I was wondering, is that a weird thing? Can a guy be a gal pal, or is that?
I love it. I loved it. I'm like, yeah, I'm Dave's gal pal. No, Girl Friday, sure, I'm there.
Girlfriend? Okay, cool.
Okay.
I never been with the guys anyway. I always feel like, I'm much happier in the kitchen drinking white wine with the gals. So I appreciate that. I am now an unofficial member of the Gal Pal Club. So thanks very much. Okay.
You're welcome.
Bringing you in, Cheryle. What I wanted you to do is when I first met you, I thought you guys had such a cool and unique program going on down there at Bryte. And I wanted you to tell the nice people out there what that program kind of looked like, okay?
Well, as you can see behind me, I'm standing in one of the learning kitchens at Bryte. And so even though we are a small program, we have an amazing facility that allows us to really give students a experience that's genuine for what they would experience in the industry. So it is a high school program, but we are dealing with very sophisticated equipment and procedures. And I teach 9th through 12th grade. The high school I teach from is River City High School. So I am actually a satellite campus. This satellite campus also houses a construction class, a biomedical class, our farm to fork class, and also the FFA and animal husbandry. So we have a lot of different things going on here besides just culinary, but culinary is the the big thing because of the facility. So grades 9 through 12, I have 3 courses. The beginning course, which is Culinary 1, a middle course, which is called Restaurant Catering and Commercial Food Production. And it's kind of my favorite class to teach because we open up the Bryte Garden Cafe and I run it just like a restaurant would run, and the students get real work experience. We're permitted for the public to come in and we would serve them pre-COVID. We're not open right now, mainly because school's not open, but I'll talk about what my plans are for when school opens, if it opens or whatever. There's, as people in the industry know, a lot of different facets to explore other than just the regular restaurant everyday thing. Finally, I have
awesome.
the third.
If I could jump in, that's awesome, because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about later on. Oh, that's exactly, what we're going with.
I do have a top level class. In that class, I teach mainly food manager. They get their food manager card, which is good for 5 years.
So that's sanitation, right? That's their food manager sanitation card.
Yeah, it's nationally recognized. It's through Serve Safe, so it's like any restaurant always has to have a food manager present, and as well as everyone with food handlers cards. So and they work on global cuisines. Those kids are doing a little bit more sophisticated plating styles. And I let them experiment a lot, and I let those kids decide what they want to make. I go shop for it and bring it to them.
Well,
Sorry, custodian.
He's all good back there. Hey, we need those guys, right? He's keeping it afloat.
10 out of 10, recommend a great custodian. So yeah, awesome.
It sounds like a big job, Cheryle. Did you folks out there hear that? I mean, she's got 3 different programs going on at once out there, right? It's like 3 different culinary schools happening at one time.
It's
right?
true.
And
I love it.
You've got that beautiful facility there. Is that your only room?
Thanks for asking. This is actually a renovated elementary school. So what you're seeing behind me are 3 classrooms where the walls have been taken out. And it is our learning kitchen. We have 4 kitchen suites and a great big dishwasher area where students learn how to clean in a kitchen, which is one of the first things they learn, sometimes to their chagrin.
Yeah, that's definitely a lesson though. You got to be able to organize, right? That's your organization lesson. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. We also have the Bryte Garden Cafe, which has a smaller galley kitchen that would be closer to what an actual restaurant has. But with 34 students in a class, it is not big enough. It would not be safe for all of us to be in there. So I take little parts out of the other kitchen. It's actually in a whole entire building. If you want, I'll walk over there with my stuff and show you guys too. But it's just as nice as this, but in a smaller version.
Yeah, maybe we can't. That would be cool. I'm worried we might lose signal or anything, but
that's true.
I'll just vouch for Ms. Sutton here that it's a beautiful facility. It's most restaurants in town would be very jealous of that little kitchen in there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's state of the art. I'll do a 360 here. Right behind me is a professional bakery. I've got all kinds of woks, all kinds of convection ovens, a large oven, refrigerators, everything you can think of is in here. And I've added tons of stuff.
Yeah, you people, you would not believe this place. It is just state of the art, absolutely gorgeous. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to Miss Cheryle here, because it is just this hidden little secret over there. It's this gem, and I think it's one of the best kept secrets around, and it shouldn't be. And you do this huge job. You've got all these different classes. Now, it's not just 3 classes in a day, is it? Don't you have more periods in one day than 3?
Sometimes I'll take all 4 periods. We work on a block schedule, so we have 4 classes that are 90 minutes for each day, and is awesome for culinary to have 90 minutes. Oh, wow. And sometimes I'll have all 4 classes. Most of the time I have a prep period when I go shopping and get stuff done. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, you
Rarely
definitely
though.
got time. I have, ever since I met you, I have always said you need an assistant. You need a sous chef down there. Um,
Right.
it's not just those two buildings you talked about. You also have a classroom too. I mean,
Yes.
you are just
Yeah.
running your tail off. When I met this woman, I was just amazed at the coverage that she is
Thanks.
taken care of over there. And I've always told you that they're not paying
It's a
you
lot
enough.
of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to get you in trouble with the with the boss. They're not paying you enough, young lady. Yeah, it is fun. Oh, I'm seeing a bunch of people out here. This is awesome, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Meet my friend Ms. Cheryle Libby-Sutton here, and I'm thanking her. I thank you so much for coming out here. So let's kind of look at. Shift gears a little bit, okay? Oh, I wanted to ask you in the past. Now, you were doing like catering in the past with these students, weren't you? It wasn't just like a restaurant style thing.
Right. I do pick up several events every year. One of my favorite was Dinner on the Main, which is Woodland when they closed down their main street and 700 or 800 people. It's similar to the Tower Bridge dinner, only it's in Woodland. And we've been able to do the appetizers there, and it turned out really good. Um, some other local events, Friends of the Library has their annual speaker meeting here, and they've had the California State Librarian as a speaker, and we've served them dinner, a 4-course dinner that we made and served. And so, yeah, we do our fair share.
I was going to say I'm also a friend of the library myself. That's awesome. So the kids
Yeah.
are down there, and visibility, right? That's the big thing is people
Yeah.
are seeing your little program and they're seeing those students, and the most important thing is the students are getting out there and feeling what it really feels like. Wouldn't you agree that it's not just about the classroom? They're getting out there and touching.
They get so nervous. And so I have uniforms for everything. I have formal uniforms, evening uniforms, back of house uniforms, front of house uniforms, travel. We served a dinner in Woodland for the Center for Land-Based Learning, and I bought everyone flannel shirts to honor the farmers. And that was our uniform. So once they get the uniform on and I give them the job they're gonna do and they feel a little bit confident, they go out there, the first thing they say to me is, "That was so much fun. When can we do it again?" And they're hooked.
And wouldn't you say they're more nervous about the service or more nervous about cooking?
I think they're more nervous about the service. They're not quite comfortable talking to adults. They don't know how to say it. And I have no problem modeling or showing them how to bus a table or how to approach a customer to see if they are finished with whatever their food is, or if they'd like a refill and stuff. So I teach a little bit of etiquette in there and soft skills with the customers.
So it's not just three culinary classes going, you're also doing table service in there?
Oh, yeah. We set tables. We learn about different forks and all the different glasses and plates and what they do. Yeah.
And banquet service versus restaurant service versus buffet service.
A double buffet, a single buffet. Yeah. How to set up a buffet. Yeah, everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just
a little bit of everything
program we were talking about. And all of it, you won't believe it's all Ms. Sutton and her students. It's just amazing the stuff they do over there. And I want to also point out that nobody's doing your ordering for you either. You have to go out and shop for this. You have to do lesson plans like every other teacher out there. You have to grade assignments, grade tests, all of the stuff that other teachers do, and cater and purchase. And it's just,
menu plan and lesson.
And I will tell you that just every high school instructor I know, they're in the same boat. People I know, very few of them that have an assistant, and these guys are going above and beyond, buying stuff, buying uniforms, buying sprinkles for cupcake projects and stuff like that, right? It's really, really cool stuff, and you do so much, and you're a rock star, and that's why I wanted to kind of put you out.
It's totally worth it, though. After everything, all the stuff is done, at the end of the day, it is so worth it. It's worth it.
I was going to say, you probably have your discipline issues with kids, right? You're in this vibrant environment. And another thing is what I always said is that kind of a program is good for kids like me who had a little bit of that ADHD and couldn't settle down or whatever. I mean, and so I imagine you get students like that, and some of those guys and gals can find a space, in there and find something they really like to do. And I know I sure did. And so, but it's got to be kind of tough, but you see those bright spots,
Yeah, it's funny because the students come in and they expect immediately to be like Gordon Ramsay. They're just going to open up a cupboard and put some stuff together and know exactly what they're doing. And when they learn there's a lot of cleaning involved, there's a way to cut everything. I certify them in knife safety. I have my own course. I made it myself. They have to pass a test before they can do anything else, and they're never prepared for that.
Do you give them a little certificate or
even
anything?
the smart kids, sometimes they're like, no, this isn't for me. I didn't think it was going to be like this. And then, like you were saying, you're the type of student you were, really thrives with a little challenge and really thrives getting a little dirty or sweaty or whatever. So
I don't know if I'd call myself a student back then. I was present some of the time.
yeah.
But yeah, it's again just got to be a tough job and everything. But you have those bright spots, and recently I saw a bright spot on your social media page, right? You guys got together with a little collaboration with Broderick Roadhouse, which is right up the street from you guys. It's a neighborhood joint for you guys, right? So
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about what that was all about?
Yeah, so Broderick and Bryte Culinary go all the way back to the beginning, which is really only about 6 years. But before the center was built and everything is running, they had, the district had gotten together with our food services director, Carrie Pena, who really designed all these kitchens. And I just got to give her a huge shout out. They had put together an advisory panel, and Chris Yarosh of the Broaderick Roadhouse was one of those people. So he's come to all my advisory meetings to this day. If he can make it, he is there. He checks in with me, and he takes students in to intern with them, paid internships. He works with the city of West Sacramento. They went to the district when the school closed and said, we want to do some volunteer work. And so there was already a relationship established, and they said, of course. And I said, hallelujah, this sounds great. And they came in and they've been using this kitchen to serve about 1,000 meals a day to people who can't get food, seniors, some homeless. I know they were doing meals for Sacramento State University, CSUS, because their kitchen closed due to the COVID. And so their dorm kids had no food. So they were serving food out at the dorms.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Are you guys are they how do I want to say this? Are they affiliated with any other like organizations that are helping out with things like the distribution and all of that?
Oh yeah, the YCCA, the Yolo County Children's Alliance. They work with those families to help get them food. The Yolo Food Bank, which is located in Woodland, but has distribution centers throughout Yolo County. They've been working with them as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So maybe
Yeah.
we can get some information for those guys, and we'll throw that up on the final cut here and everything, and throw up their websites.
Yeah, they've been doing an outstanding job.
And it sounds like they are still doing it, right?
They are still doing it. Chef Matt Severs is their executive chef. So he's been here the most of the time. And whenever I come in, he's who I talk to. I came in at one point and I said, hey, like I always do to everybody, do you want an intern? Can you use a student, entry level? I'll get you a go-getter. And all the kids know that I will get them jobs if they're good in my class and prove themselves. So he said yes. So I sent him some, and they ended up working here the whole time.
So you're employing students in the community.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about right there, you know. And yeah,
I think so.
That's a win.
College to career. Yeah, the career component, that's what it's all about for me. Get a job, you know, do something you love.
So you're over there in Yolo. You might see a little more than I do over here in Sacramento, but who else in Yolo is making waves out there in the community? Anybody else you can kind of give a little shout out to?
Well, the Burgess Brothers, I don't know if anyone knows John and Matt. They are such hard workers. They've been working with the Kings. They've been working with Rayleigh Field. They opened up a new cafe right before the COVID hit, which was just crushing. My students were actually providing their salads. So we were wrapping them up and taking a salad order over there. And they'd open up a waffle cafe. They have a little this waffle machine that they patent and they sell it. It's been on the shopping channels and things like that. They're just amazing. They've done so much.
I think I tried a waffle at one of our advisory meetings, Cheryle.
Oh, yeah, they were here.
But yeah, like those guys are the hardest working guys in the business. They just out there at every like community gathering and volunteering and doing their stuff out there. And
I think they do a lot of stuff in Oak Park as well.
And they're also firefighters, are they not?
One's a firefighter and one's a police officer.
Oh,
yes.
I know. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, if you don't know the Burgess Brothers, check them out. We'll give them a little shout out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, I haven't been paying attention to what some of the other folks have been doing, but I know the city council, Karina Orozco, she's on the city council and I've been able to do a lot of things with them. They have been helping with food distribution, and some of the local churches around here have been really great getting families bags of food, because people who can't work, the hardest hit are the ones that are just below middle class. So there's a big need out there for that.
And a lot of the time they don't have transportation. They're the ones stuck in home, and they're the ones that
yes, have the most need.
Yeah, they can't always cook for themselves. And another thing is, heck, that's something we've lost as a society, right? We forgot how to cook, I think, a lot of us. And so that's something as well, right? And so you guys are filling a definite need. It sounds to me like you do have a little finger on the pulse out there. You're on the front lines out there, and
a little bit.
And so when all of this hit back in March, I mean, you had to immediately go online and completely shift gears. I think we've heard a lot of stories like along those lines, but I don't think you've stopped, have you? Aren't you teaching currently in the summertime?
I did teach summer school. It's called credit recovery in high school, and but none of it was culinary. It was mostly math.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't culinary related, but I really do care about kids, and I really care that they graduate on time, and I care about their self-esteem. I care about that they feel good about themselves. I really do. So I became a summer school teacher to help those kids out. And we did it all online 100%. So every day I'm on the phone with students and parents, and I'm just trying to keep these relationships together, because it's so hard when it's digital and you're not seeing anybody and you don't know them. So
yeah, it's the hardest part, and I don't have near the numbers you do. Like I keep saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is a real teacher we're talking about here. So I'll have a couple of students, but even then it's just like trying to keep them engaged. And then you also have those other challenges of, what about those kids that don't have the resources they need to take a class? They don't have a computer, they don't have Wi-Fi, and so is the district kind of supplying that sort of
Absolutely. Washington Unified School District is A1. They support their students, they supported the staff, they got the kids hotspots, laptops, they gave us, the teachers, what we needed to monitor and proctor tests. So and they cheered us on the whole time, the admin and the district office. So
awesome to hear. You had those cheerleaders in there. That's really good.
That's right.
I was worried about you over there, Cheryle. Like every once in a while I'd see a post of, so many struggling teachers out there that are just like, oh my gosh, I'm under all of this stress and everything, and just completely reinventing the game. I mean, it's like the Jetsons, isn't it? Like little Elroy had to watch the teacher on his computer,
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are right now. And it all shifted overnight.
It shifted overnight. I actually came from industry, so I have 20 years background in restaurants. Teaching is my second career, and I've been doing it now for 6 years. And so like you guys out there whose jobs change constantly, especially in the restaurant business, and you're always going with the latest trend, I was able to adapt really quickly and keep a good disposition about it and keep a we can do it attitude. And so for me, it worked out well. And I think it's because this is my second career and I do draw from being in a restaurant and just having to create things in a moment's notice.
I think also you said it, it's the can-do thing about
Yeah.
you. You're
Yeah.
a can-do gal, and you learn every day, don't you? As a teacher, right? We learn every day as we progress.
So true.
Yeah, yeah. The students aren't the only ones that are learning. That's for sure. So what do you think? What do you see as the next phase of like food service? What are we talking to students about career wise at this point, right? Because it's probably not Michelin plates so much anymore that we're talking about.
No.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of speak to that a little bit?
Well, I've been thinking about that a lot, and especially a shift towards disinfecting. And ServSafe was already starting to do that before COVID. I know people in the industry know the red bucket and the green bucket, but there's a blue bucket for disinfecting. And I hadn't really implemented it into my classroom. And I just thought, is that too much information? So there was already kind of a trend going that way. And that would be what I would be following, is getting that blue bucket out. You learn the difference between cleaning and sanitizing, but now you're going to learn about also disinfecting. So
that was something I kind of was curious about, is like the health and safety training. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that ServSafe, we mentioned that a few times already, and that is kind of a national training program for sanitation and safety in the restaurant industry. It's run through the National Restaurant Association, the other NRA, right? And so one of the things that we have been teaching for years, because Cheryle and I teach out of the same program, so I'm sure we probably can finish each other's sentences about this stuff. But we talk about at-risk populations, and how that, places like nursery schools and long-term care facilities where people might have compromised immune systems. And so we have this extra level of sanitation in those facilities. And I'm wondering if everything is just ramped up to that level from here on out.
Yes.
Your local McDonald's didn't quite operate at the same level as a hospital or something did, right? So
just like any trend, I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to teach the kids what they need to know in the new normal, and this will just be the new normal.
Yeah,
so just roll with it.
It might even get to more mass feeding than just curbside, more things like you guys are doing down there, or teaming up with Broaderick and feeding more people. And maybe our role is training a bunch of people. It might come to a time where we need a lot of people that can crank out a lot of meals safely, cleanly, healthily, if you will. And that's kind of what I'm
my middle class, which would normally run the Bryte Garden Cafe, I'm switching that up completely if I'm allowed. I don't even know what my situations are going to be, so I have many ideas for how to run that class, but that was exactly, Dave, what I was thinking, is doing some kind of food production for a large group of people, maybe seniors, maybe homeless. I have to put some people out there and talk to some people. So we'll see, but you're right. It is going to be more production for now.
Yeah, I see that. Right now, is Yolo shut down from indoor dining as well?
I believe so.
I think it is too, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so. And even if it's not, I know they probably imposed it on the county. They've been very vigilant about safety and masks and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm glad. I'm pro mask and pro safety and all of
Me
that.
too. Me
I'm
too.
Happy about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can speak to this. Again, I don't want to get you in hot water or anything, but do you know what's the current status of Yolo County as far as like opening on day one with students? I mean, I think I'm talking about the fall semester students. I think in the Sacramento area, the latest I have heard was, limited contact, limited class size and things like that. What can you speak to anything that's going on in Yolo that isn't top secret?
Okay, they put out a questionnaire for parents, students, and staff. And they've done a couple of them to kind of gauge what people in this area would like to do. And I know right this minute, the district is engaged in assembling these work groups to talk about complete not opening, partial opening, or a full opening. And I'm sure they're just vetting out how each one would look like. Our Board of Education in West Sacramento is amazing. And I know they're just really going to work hard and do what's best and what people want for their community. And so they're really listening and trying to make sure everyone's a stakeholder and everyone gets a little bit of the decision put in. And I know I sound like a big fan of everybody, but I'm just really impressed by this community. They've been doing a really great job. So.
Well, you're not a big fan of everybody.
I am. I'll admit it.
But I hear what you're saying.
Trying to be good.
And one of the things that is just that is positive that I have seen in so many situations where they are reaching out and they're asking those questions, right? They're looking for ideas from the community, because quite frankly, if the community doesn't have input, that is when people are going to start freaking. They're just not going to be comfortable. Why are they doing this? What are they? But if we have community input, it's like, hey, this came from you guys. And so, yeah. I don't know if you ever watched Parks and Rec. I don't know what those meetings look like, but if it's anything like that show, they get pretty crazy. I can imagine.
I do not have time for TV.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I hear you. You truly are. Okay. So I had a question here, Cheryl. What do you think the impact on individuals choosing culinary classes? What do you think the impact on them are going to be like for choosing a career in food service? Is it still a thing?
That is a good question. And I believe that if approached the right way, people will find their own direction if you give them some options. And so there's going to be options, no matter if there's COVID, no matter what, people got to eat. So there's going to be some options out there for the students interested in hospitality, being a chef, food science, being an entrepreneur and having their own business. Those are unconditional. They're going to exist whether we have COVID or not. So as long as you bring those opportunities, students will find a way.
Let me just throw this in. We just kind of breezed by it earlier, but there's also an ag program at Cheryl's little facility, at the Bryte Career facility here. And so also bringing farming into it. That's one of the big things that worries me, is who is going to be the next generation of farmers out there? Who's going to be producing the food? And so that's another thing that you guys are bringing to the table out there at your little.
We do tons of farms. I have my favorite ones. We know all the farmers in the area. They know us. They bring us stuff. I talk about sustainability and farming and why it's important to eat local and purchase local, and I bring all of that. It's a farm to fork focus program, definitely. Yeah, and if ever the students wanted to go to a farm, I would set it up immediately. There's walking distance, there's urban farms all over the Bryte area, Bryte Broaderick area. Literally, they could walk to one of them and spend a couple hours.
Yeah, one of them's across the street from Broaderick Roadhouse almost, right?
That's right. I think that's Three Sisters. Is it?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. You're a farm county. Come on, it's Yolo.
It's Yolo.
It's awesome. So how are you doing on time, Cheryl? You got time for more questions?
Yeah, you're it.
Okay, cool. So, I'm going to be teaching next semester, and I'm wondering, like, what are some of your assignments looking like? What's the average? Do you have like assignments where the students cook anything at home? Are you trying anything like that?
Oh, like distance learning stuff?
Yeah, distance learning ideas.
That is a little tricky because not everyone has access to the same stuff. And then as I learned, when I was distance teaching last semester, a lot of kids do their best work between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. And that's when I would always get the work turned in. It's the digital age. I can see your timestamp. I know when you turned it in. So I don't know why. It was just very hard. So as far as doing cooking at home, I'm not going to do that. What I can do, there's some fabulous websites and YouTube videos, and I had them watch them. I had them do a whole report about the USDA. I think it's really important. So they had to do a research project on the USDA. It was great. And so then they also,
you're like loading them up with more academics and things like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Some history too. We did history of American cuisine and all the different various cultures that came in to present in American cuisine. So,
yeah, a lot of people don't realize American regional cuisine is a huge topic that, you don't think about, the Pacific Northwest versus the Northeast, right? And Southwest and Louisiana and North and South Carolina and all of that. Yeah, just so varied and so wide.
Even Florida has their own thing because they have a huge Cuban community that is influencing, and then they have all that seafood. So it's a really interesting blend. And who doesn't love Cajun? I mean, I love Cajun food, so it's
like spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that exciting.
So for the kids that are distance learning, I actually have projects like that. They're long projects that are very meaty and academic. They're culinary related, but they're not cooking.
Gotcha. I was kind of playing with the idea of some kind of hands-on work I could send home. I'm going to do an intro class next term, and how can I get these guys some potatoes to cut up? They got to practice knife skills, and take a picture of it or something, right? Or the SCOE model. My friend Carissa Jones that's handing out ingredients all over town, and people just take a picture of whatever. It's kind of a creative project or whatever. So I'm kind of thinking about ideas like that, but then who pays for the ingredients, and how do I get it all done and everything? And
I will share my database of lessons with you for distance learning. Let me know.
That's what I'm talking about, that collaboration. I love it because different ideas of things to play with, what can we send home? How can I get their hands on food? Any little thing is a learning experience,
Mm-hmm.
Things like, sourdough bread, if you could get them into that, which is, it's a big subject and everything, but gosh, those ingredients cost nothing. It's water, it's flour, things like that. So, sorry.
I was going to say some culinary teachers would bag up projects and have the students come pick them up from the school.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah. What if they don't come? What if they don't come to pick them up?
Well, see, my friend Carissa Jones, if I may say, ladies and gentlemen, Sacramento County's Teacher of the Year. Okay, and she's been driving ingredients around. She's been putting together mystery baskets and driving them around to people. And
that's why she's Teacher of the Year.
I think so. That's how you get there. But it was just genius. And that's kind of what I'm trying to think of anything, right? What can I do to get their hands on food, right? So, hey, maybe go to the farmers markets at the end of the day, when the farmers want to just offload product or what have you. I'm going to be getting creative, I'll tell you. But yeah, I wanted to pick your brain to see if you had ideas. So,
tons. I have tons of ideas. I love technology. I love that we can do a Zoom. I loved hyperdocs and links and videos. I think it's great. So.
And the thing is that's what the students use too, right? And so if
yes.
we're not using those tools, then we're in the Stone Age.
That's right. They actually had to do a TikTok video of them making breakfast. So, I mean.
Awesome. So
it's relevant.
Any kind of breakfast.
Any kind of breakfast, whatever, a bowl of cereal, but it had to be a TikTok video, and you had to describe your equipment. You have to describe your safety procedures. There's a list of things that you have to do within the video.
Perfect. Yes, I do want to see your database, Cheryl.
You do. It's good.
So what do you think about we're kind of talking about the future of culinary education right now, right? What do you think about the old apprenticeship idea where, the workplace, it takes a little more of an active role? And what are your thoughts of building partnerships in that direction?
Well, absolutely necessary. You can't do that. You can't go just to any back of the house and with a little knowledge. You have to have a mentor. You have to be an apprentice and work your way up. Even if you don't go to fancy school, you have to do that. So I try and set those up. Every time I meet somebody, I ask, would you like an intern?
So that's probably, you know, yet another thing we can add to the list of things you do is career services.
Yes.
Officer, right?
Well, there's an app for students called Remind, and I call it my job line. And I tell the students, if you ever want a job, get in the Remind, because people come to me at all hours, weird times, summer, winter, fall, and I'll put it out there and see who sees it and applies. So I already have systems set up for students to get jobs.
So it almost sounds like any local restaurant people that are watching this interview right here could look that up and hire some of your students as interns.
That's right.
It almost sounds like that, right? So my suggestion, people, these are trained culinary students. Some of them even have their manager's serve safe certification, which means if you're the only one on property that has that, you can go home and leave this person there in your stead, right? That's what that means, right? So you can finally go home at night. And you know, they know a little bit of technique. They know some basic stuff. They're green, but you know, they know the basics. They just got to get their hands on stuff. And that's one of the, you know, my little commercial for hiring culinary students, though. It's, you know, a doctor goes through years and years of medical school, but they don't just put them directly into a surgical theater and expect them to do surgery. They got to do a residency out there in a hospital and touch some patients and work with this stuff for a little while before, you know, we trust them to do a little brain surgery, right?
Well, if anyone was interested in hiring some students, I get to know them pretty well. And I would try to match the right student for the right job, because not all combinations are going to work out. So I would send the right people out, hopefully. I mean, it has worked out so far, so my track record is really good. But yeah, it's not just random. I do some selecting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want the student to feel good too. You know, I want everyone to have a good experience.
Right. If you throw a student into a situation they're not quite ready for, then
right,
it's going to be a good experience for anybody. So I love that point that you bring up. I mentioned it earlier, the other culinary instructors that I speak to, we can just finish each other's sentences, because I have many of the same issues that come up with me. And yeah. So it's always good to hear, you know, talk to other culinary instructors and everything. Gosh, let me just see if I got anything else here, because I think I'm down at the bottom. Oh, what are you cooking these days? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Well, at my house right now, due to all the shifting of employment, my kids moved home with the grandkids. So we're cooking every day for 8.
Wow.
So I cook quickly. And sometimes they get involved. Sometimes I'm picky. Dave, I've seen you do this too. You drop a little something in the kitchen, you got to stop what you're doing and clean it up right away.
Yeah.
I'm that person too. So I just cook home cooking. It's my comfort food is my specialty.
Yeah, make it work with what you got and make it taste good. And yeah.
I like it non-processed as possible, you know, corn on the cob, like just as non-processed as possible.
Well, you know, look at where we are. You know, we're in one of the great food capitals of the world, I feel. I mean, would you say great food capital or greatest food capital?
I'm going to go for world's best.
Yeah, let's just do
Farm
it.
to fork.
Yeah.
The San Joaquin Valley, though, you can plant anything and grow anything here. It's an amazing, fertile place. So, and Sacramento is the center.
The ocean is less than 2 hours away.
Yeah.
The wine country is all around us now, right? And so, yeah.
Right. So I think I'm going to try this year to maybe look into pairing with UC Davis and seeing what I can do as far as food science for students. And I was going to take the program in a little bit different direction. I've decided to back up and look at food science as maybe an option for them. And because they have a huge department, you just mentioned winery, and and that got in my head too. So there's also looking at that. So possibly just food packaging, food, how to preserve it, how to make it last longer, how to grow it better. So much to food science.
I love it, Cheryle. That is very exciting news.
Yeah, and UC Davis is here in Yolo County, so I feel like they should be pairing up with programs so that they get students. I mean, that's their customers too.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe some of those UC Davis folks are watching this right now. That is a great idea. You guys are local, and there needs to be a connection there. I think that's great. Cheryle, have you had enough of Between the Two Stoves?
No, but that's okay. Probably everyone else has.
we can still keep hanging out. Let me just make sure nobody else asked another question here, but I was kind of watching out of the corner of my eye. We had several people show up. Ooh, several fancy people. Yeah, see?
Pinkies up.
Susan, a couple old students, Michael Cross, Michelle, Nina, a couple of culinary instructors out there, Cheryle. That's awesome.
Hey.
Nina's another culinary instructor in high school, I believe.
Oh, what high school?
I think she's at American Legion, I think. I'll be
oh, yeah. Oh, Nana. Yeah, we go way back.
Okay, good.
True.
Good. I'm saying her name wrong. Nana. Johnny, another instructor, she does the front of the house out at American River College. She's awesome.
Oh yeah, American River College. I'm articulated with them. So you take my classes, you get college credits, and they've been awesome. I've been wanting to take a field trip out there, but it just hasn't worked out so far.
And all of that matriculation, lining all of that stuff up, that's what you put together, isn't it?
Yeah.
You did, isn't it?
Yeah, college credits, certifications, anything to make it legit. But also that's how you keep getting funded.
Yeah, that's true.
Is you send kids to college and into careers. You don't just talk about it, you do it.
Cheryle Sutton, I've been saying it from day one since the first time I met you. You just are the hardest working gal in all education over there in Yolo County. That is just awesome stuff.
You're awesome too, Dave. You have helped me immensely along the way. So I just appreciate, you guys, Dave was our adult ed teacher here at Bryte, and he showed me all kinds of teacher tricks that he used, and now I use them too. I just adopted them, so.
Yeah, fake teaching tricks, fake teaching, yeah. But I love you, Cheryle. You're awesome, and I've always been this huge fan of everything you do over there. It just blows my mind, and I don't keep half as many balls in the air as you do over there. It's just amazing. And anything you need, you just holler, okay?
Will do.
Yeah. For everybody else out there, thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. It was very exciting stuff for me because I'm into this food education thing. But hopefully, you guys that have kids and things like that, hey, you might be a little concerned about what they're picking up in school, or maybe concerned about the next generation. What are these kids doing these days? Hey, we're teaching them life skills. People like Cheryle Sutton is paying it forward to the next generation, right? And so doing great stuff. For the rest of you guys, please see me every Thursday at 5 o'clock for these Between the Two Stoves interviews. I'm having a blast with them, seeing all these people I haven't seen for a while. It's really good stuff. And please join me also on Mondays when I'm doing my quarantine kitchen happy hour, where I'm just laying down culinary technique, the kind of stuff that Cheryle teaches every day, right? Basic technique. I'm not doing anything too fancy, but I'm using what I got around the house, using what we got around the Sacramento region here, and I'm having a blast with it. It's keeping me sane, keeping me off the streets. You don't see me on my roller skates as much because I got this keeping me off the streets. So thanks everybody for stopping in. Check me out on Industry Cooking Classes channel on YouTube. Like, share, all of that good stuff, and give Cheryle Sutton a shout out.
Thank you, Dave. You're the best.
You are the best. Love you, girl. Take care. And everybody, have a very nice day. That is the end of the show. Boop.